Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me?
With your host, Brandon Tierney. In 3, 2, 1.
All right, everybody, welcome back. BT Unleashed on this Monday. Now, I have been informed. I know I'm ready to do the show, and I know I've got stuff to talk about, and I am ready to roll. I'm a little worried about Jared, who is hanging by a thread.
What's up, y'all? Oh my goodness.
What's going on?
I'm feeling devastated. I mean, I just had too great of a night last night. Too fun of a night. I mean, a great concert-filled weekend, a lot of barrels, I have to say a lot of $3 PBRs.
Really?
We're in the mix last night. So
how many?
My goodness. 8 or 9. I'd have to say 8 or 9 plus a vodka Red Bull plus a Guinness.
Whoa.
You're in for an evening.
Oh my God. What time did you get home?
2:30, 2:45, I think.
Oh, dude, wait till you get older. Wait till you get older.
I know. I mean, I can't even imagine.
So, so you're hungover, and you're also shooting me text last night about an interaction that you had. Yes. What was this about?
So last night, playing the concert, Arlene's Grocery, and I'm sitting in the back with my buddies, and all of a sudden I hear just, J-Rod, is that you? J-Rod, is that you? And I'm going, what? Like is someone I know here? Someone I know? Yeah. And there's a guy, our good friend. If you're watching right now, you made my year, man. You made my year. David, thank you so much. I had my first fan interaction. I had a fan come up to me at the bar, wasn't even there for the show, just happened to be there for another artist.
Wow.
We chopped it up for a bit. It was a ton of fun. Thank you, David. Thanks for coming up, man. You filled my ego to the brim.
Did you get him a drink?
Oh boy. I think that's where I messed up. I had a free drink ticket too.
You did. So you now that's cool. I can appreciate that. I remember when that would first start to happen to me, and it's not. I mean, it's a little bit of an ego thing.
Yes,
but it's more of just a gratitude thing because
it
tells you that things are going.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
But it seems like this gentleman didn't know when to make a U-turn and end the conversation. Kept going.
Yo, David. No, listen, David. I love you.
Keep it real, dude. I got a message here.
We had to get ready. We had to practice a little bit before the show. We had to have a whole band meeting. Had to step aside for a moment, but I appreciate it. I don't know if he stayed throughout our set. I know I saw him throughout some of the other sets. Yeah, banging back some drinks, bro, having a good time. So also, dude, I saw it. He had like a ring on a necklace. I don't know. Is that like a wedding thing or is that like a Knicks championship thing? Because
I don't know. You should have asked him. You were the one who was talking to him, not me. I mean, did he do all the talking and you do all the listening?
It was, there's a good back and forth, a little bit of back and forth. A good, you know how it is. A bit about you, get a bit about BT himself, about the man himself. But I think the biggest thing, like you said, it shows what we're doing here has legs.
Yes.
And listen, it has public recognizability. Yep. It has people throughout the city, throughout the tri-state area tapped in. So I think that's just the most exciting
throughout the world, man. We got our buddy ST in London. We got friends out in Australia. What do you mean? We got a lot of friends out of Florida. All over the place, man. It's not just local. That's great, though. I'm happy for you. Yeah, I mean, though I've always been the type. This is just who I like. It happens a lot at baseball fields, right?
Oh, I'm sure, man.
It does. Like it even happened over the weekend where, and for the most part, like almost everybody that I meet, their etiquette's great. Like really, I mean, I'd say 99%, especially the field because I'm coaching, and they know, they know that I'm busy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it happened a couple of times this weekend where it was for the other team where they came up and they said, hey, can you take a picture of my kids? They hear me listening to you and Unleashed and from the days at the fan and 1050. I'm like, of course, like it makes you feel so good. If that doesn't make you feel good, then I don't know what does. But every once in a while there is I call them, it's probably more like a Larry David. I'm sure he did something on this, like a lingerer.
Yes.
Or a stanza where they just They just don't take the social cues. Like when you start, and I don't mean I would never do this 20 or 30 seconds into a conversation ever.
No, it's 10 minutes in. It's when you
that's what
get
I'm
10
saying.
minutes in,
Yeah,
15
and I'll
minutes
even,
in.
And I'll, no, for sure. Like if you're doing that 15, 20 seconds in, you're not treating your fans or people who support you very well. And I'll never do that. Like the day that I start doing that is the day that it's time to leave the business, which I'll just never do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave the business at some point because I'll age out. But I don't understand how some people do that. But I do understand, like, the more, I hate the word famous. Even when my daughter was a little bit younger, she's like, Daddy's famous. No, Daddy is not famous. Daddy just happens to have a public job that people know. That I really can't stand the word famous, especially for young, impressionable minds where she's not on TikTok yet. She's still young, and she doesn't have a phone yet. But you don't want to plant that seed of being famous. And a lot of the kids watch YouTube a lot and a lot of shorts, and they see, whether it's Mr. Beast or some of these absolute monsters who are jacking up over 1 million views. And then she's got stuff that she watches as a young girl. I don't want to associate, that with that. Like that's the path in life. I fundamentally disagree with that because there's so many things that could go wrong for a young kid. But there, every once in a while, there is that person, dude, and they are a lingerer. And no matter how many social cues you kind of give out, like, hey, and sometimes you just have to make it. But hold on, I got to. My wife called me a couple of minutes ago. I just got to get back to her. I'll be right back. Again, I'm not doing that right away. But when they, and I'm even the kind of person where I will, if somebody cares enough to come up to me, and we'll jump into the show in a moment. Got some good Yankee stuff. Got something on Lindor. Got something on the ridiculous, pathetic WNBA commissioner. And I will ask them questions like, oh, where do you live? Oh, do you have any kids? Oh, they play ball. Like I really do enjoy those conversations. I appreciate them. But like sometimes, like you could, like if you're pinned in a restaurant or in a bar and there's nowhere to go, or at a stadium and there's just nowhere to go, like I don't know if you're on a concession line or I don't know, like if just the surroundings doesn't give you an exit, a classy exit. You start going like this. So, oh, where's my kids? Where's my wife? Oh, I got to do something for work. And they don't pick up on it. I mean, at some point you got to end the conversation. You just have to.
It gets a little tense. It gets a little off. And listen, I dealt with it before because like playing concerts and stuff. Now this is different because it's not. And like my buddy and I, who's in the band, we're talking about it. It's not a public recognizability thing.
Yep.
So like I've certainly played a concert before where you've got like a guy and he's like, dude, we've got to start a band together, bro. Like and you're just like, yeah, all right. Thanks for coming, man. Like that was great. But no, listen, this was a great fan interaction.
Yeah, he was excited. He was excited.
I mean, he was totally excited to meet me, totally just juiced about the show in general. I mean, he literally just got off the subway and he showed me, he was watching the Friday No Rules Friday episode as he was on the subway to the show.
That's cool.
So
that's great. Nice. There you go. Wait till football season, man. Wait till we really start getting this thing cranked up.
Mind blowing.
It's gonna be good. Good for you, Jay. All right, let's get into it, man. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. It's gonna be. I'll probably take a day or two off. I got to play a little golf this week. It's a good week to do it. I'll let you guys know what day. I think I'm gonna definitely play Friday. And then I've got a play meeting. I'm going to play golf Friday, probably not do a show Friday. I might actually record some content and then just kind of put it in there, like some special stuff, some fun stuff, whatever, historical stuff, much shorter than the live show. But we'll let you know what's cooking with that. But yeah, I mean, it's a quiet week, but you have to love the way the Yankees finished things up. They really did show some fight. They showed a real pulse, and I want to get into that. First, let you know, of course, as always, today's show is brought to you by my friends at Sullivan Papane. You can find them online at trial01.com. That's trial01.com. Remember the name Sullivan Papane, and by Premio Sausage, the way sausage should be. Find them at premiofoods.com or in your local grocery store. All right, we haven't really done this as much because we've been very busy. But, Jay, let everybody know. I don't mean you don't have to pop on now, just in terms of the chat. I think we want to get some baseball calls today. If you guys are up for it, whether it's Yankee stuff, symbolic first half is over, all-star break, kind of take stock of where we are. A lot of pressing concerns. Obviously, a flicker of hope for the Yankees this week. And I'll get to Lindor. John Heyman had this. I mean, Lindor, I know he was the hero up until that, but he has just been, he has regressed. And people don't really associate fielding slumps. You think, well, you're in a 1 for 21 funk at the plate with 8 or 9 strikeouts, which happens to everybody. I don't care how good you are, but there are long defensive gaps as well. And whether it's a focus thing, whether it's a technical thing, whether it's a combination of both, I don't know. But you go back to Lindor's defensive metrics a year ago, they were not good at all. And I really think it was interesting. And I'll do this after I get into the Yankee stuff. But interesting is a very quick way to describe what was a very terse no comment. Twice he said it when asked about potentially waiving a no trade. So, the crazy thing about baseball is that we get up in here, right? And we have these strong opinions. And listen, just as evidenced by the Knicks and the way they were able to recalibrate and kind of change their roles, and Cat doing different stuff, and Mike Brown being amenable to changing things up, and Jalen Brunson getting a little less ball dominant, Knicks getting a little bit healthier as the year went on. Like, things change. So I've always said, when you do something every day, it's not necessarily, as I do, it's not, and as I have for a long time, it's not necessarily a hot take. Like, I've genuinely tried to avoid the clickbaity hot take stuff. Like, that doesn't excite me. That doesn't move me. I know it does move numbers, and that's ultimately how you're judged. But really, my core belief for this channel is that you can remain passionate as I am. You can have strong opinions, and they could vary. You could say one thing on a Monday and then get provided some evidence to the contrary Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and say, well, okay, maybe this is changing, or maybe that's opening up, or maybe I didn't quite see this, and have a different opinion. It's not a hot take. Again, it's an adjustment based on the evidence that you're presented with. Now, I say that because the Yankees were they were a step away, seemingly, even though in a long season, we know that that's not the case, but seemingly from being toe tagged, at least, symbolically, in the minds of everybody, in terms of like thinking that the Yankees had a chance to do anything this year. And Schlittler, we did a live show, the first experiment with that. We did a live watch party a week ago today. So last Monday, when Cam Schlittler pitched the first of 4 games down in Tampa, threw a gem. Cabby had a couple of home runs, and it was fun. And I'm going to do that a lot more, especially with the Jets and Yankee playoff games, right? It was just a little experiment that it was cool. And okay, and I got on the air on Tuesday, and I was saying this throughout the broadcast Monday night. Hey, good start. I expected Cam to pitch well. He's a beast. He's got elite stuff. So I'm not stunned by this, but let's see what happens the rest of the series here before we start flipping our tune and seeing the Yankees to be something different than they presented themselves for such a long stretch this season. And by the way, other seasons and a lot of the same issues that have bled, and it's so boring and so exhausting talking about the same thing as we often do with the Yankees, the Cashman stuff, Boone for a lot of you, a lot of strikeouts, whatever, Volpe, Jazz, the things we hit. But I did not get on the air Tuesday and say, all right, that's it. Cam threw a gem. Yanks are good. I was like, all right, hey, it's always good to win a game, especially a big game. But, in a pretty important series, as important as it could be in early July. But I'm not going nuts here. I want to see what transpires the rest of the series. And then they lost Tuesday, and then they lost Wednesday, and then Thursday show. I'm just not, I'm a fan, but I'm not 9 years old anymore. So I deal in reality, and I deal with it more in a cutthroat, pragmatic rather and less emotional way. And I was saying on Thursday, like, come on, the Yankees are going to lose. The Yankees are going with a bullpen game, which although I did see a stat, Blackburn, who was the opener of that game, has the lowest ERA of anybody. I think it's over the last 2 months. It's crazy. Like, when he was at the Mets, I'm like, this guy's terrible. When he came here, I'm like, why do we want the Mets scraps? I don't want him. He's actually done a really good job, just to slide that in and give credit where it's due. But when you have a bullpen game, and not even a very good bullpen, that's the irony. Like, if you go into like Ramiro Mendoza, you got Stanton, you got all these horses like back in the day. All right, maybe you could piece it together. And based on who they were going against, Rasmussen, who was 5-0 against the Yankees in his career, sub-2 ERA, 59 strikeouts in 50 innings. I'm sitting there saying, Yanks aren't hitting a lick. They just lost 2 straight after winning on Monday. You're going against a guy who you never touch, and the Yankees usually don't really hit good pitching. and the offense is incredibly stagnant and problematic. Why would I think that the Yankees would win? Well, they did in a very improbable manner. So that was a little more evidence, but not enough for me. And I'm still not going nuts. I'm tempering this, but not enough to if that didn't happen it happened on Thursday, but if that would have happened on Monday or Tuesday, the whole week would not have been unnecessarily optimistic based on those circumstances. I would have given them credit, but I would have still maintained that I don't like this, and I don't. And the Yankees need to make trades. I'm not trying to change that up. But really, the message today is that no matter what you think about outside of certain teams, and I think it's probably pretty safe to say, I mean, can we come in unison and say it's over for the Mets? It's a wrap. I mean, we could probably say that, right? We could. I will. It's a wrap, and it's been a wrap for a while. But in baseball, and this is not exactly breaking news, you really just never know. You don't know. So when they bookended that 4-game set with Tampa, I don't even know what the odds were in Vegas. I would have to say that the Yankees were probably plus, I don't know, maybe J-Rod could look this up. Jay, look it up, just out of curiosity. See what the odds were going into Thursday's game. Yankees-Rays, Yankees with Blackburn, bullpen, Rasmussen for the Rays. I would have to guess that the Yankees were probably in the vicinity of about plus 240. Nobody really thought that they would win the game, and they did. And then you're like, okay, stabilizer. No blood drawn. You didn't gain on the Rays, but you didn't lose, all right? And then you go down to D.C., and the Nationals are better than they've been, scrappy, some good sticks, playing pretty good baseball. And they didn't just sweep them. It was a character series because the manner in which they won every single night was the kind of thing that certainly jolts a fan base in terms of, oh, okay. But more importantly, galvanizes a locker room. So Friday night, you get 3 in the 9th to win it. Saturday, you get 4 in the 8th to win it. Yesterday, you get 2 in the 8th. You tack on 1 in the 9th to win it. Sweep. So, and the Rays lost, by the way. So, where are we with the Yankees? Certainly not as optimistic as I was when they were playing great baseball at the start of the season when Fried was healthy, etc., and Judge was banging, and Rice and Judge were a very lethal combo, and Rice is red hot again, which is phenomenal. I love his opposite field power. The way he strokes the ball the other way, it's just, he hits it hard the other way. Piazza, I'm not saying he's quite like this, but Piazza did that very well as a righty, right center power. A-Rod did that very well. Even Mattingly, who I don't think it had as much quite raw power as Ben Rice. Maybe if Donnie was coming up now and he was raised differently, chasing numbers, then again, he wouldn't be Don Mattingly because he wouldn't hit 330 and all that stuff. But I still don't think somebody like Mattingly, and I've seen him hit home runs the other way for sure, a couple over the Green Monster. I remember one in Texas over Pete Incaviglia's head when he tied Dale Long's record for consecutive home runs with 8. That was out in Texas in Arlington, the old stadium, and it barely cleared the fence. Scooter was on the call. I didn't see a ton of Don Mattingly home runs the other way. I didn't see a ton. Even Paul O'Neill, even Bernie, Bernie from the left side would generally, and I'm not talking about, I've got to caveat this, Baltimore's dimensions bad. I know that they've adjusted them several times. They pushed them back, then they brought them in. I don't even know where they are in relation to when they first opened the park with Cal Ripken and those guys. But, Bernie hit a couple of oppos, I'm sure there. I know Darryl did in the playoffs, but Darryl had different kind of power. Ben Rice is he's just different, man. He's different. He's special. Now, how special, I don't know. But his penchant, even if it doesn't clear the fence, you look at his numbers, his exit velocity on a ball the other way, it's just a lot harder than the average player. Not to mention, obviously, he does a lot of other things really well. So it was a fun weekend. It was a good weekend. And to me, some of you might disagree with this. If you told me going into the National Series, coming off that win Thursday in the bullpen game, right? If you said where everybody hit, that's the other thing. Not only, it's like they won a squeaker. I mean, they banged out, 12 runs and, 13 or 14 hits. But if you told me going into the series with the Nats that the Yankees would win, 11-5, 12-4, and 8-0, right? So what is that? You got 19, you got 29, and outscored them like 29-9, like something very lopsided. I honestly think, I know I would sign up for what transpired this past weekend more than that, because it shows a certain resolve. It shows a certain character. Like a 12-0, unless you get laid out the previous night and you come out and you just drop a 6 spot in the first inning, like that's character too. But to me, blowouts aren't necessarily character wins, even if it's against a good team. When you hit that, 6 runs, and 6 runs is nice, but you start getting into that 7, 8, 9, and beyond that runs, and 10, 11, 12, and beyond that hits, right? A couple of guys go yard. Like that's fairly common in Major League Baseball. What's not common is to be staring down the barrel of a loss Friday, coming back and winning. Staring down the same barrel Saturday at an L, coming back winning. And having the same barrel to your head and then coming back and winning on Sunday. Back to back to back character wins. And I do classify that last win against Tampa as a character win based on the circumstances going into the game. They never touched the opposing pitcher. They're going to a bullpen game. Yanks aren't hitting, and everything worked. So, things change. They shouldn't change, and I want to be clear about this. They shouldn't change so radically. Like, I'm not telling you, that's it. The Yankees are going to come back off the All-Star break and sweep the Dodgers or win the series and go on some run where they win 27 out of 35 and they, jump past the Rays. And I mean, they might, but I'm not saying that. I don't even know. I'm not expecting that. But they win the American League East by 5 or 6 games, and they win going away, and everything's perfect. And eventually, Judge is back, and Max Fried's back, and Rodon's back, and Cole figures things out more, and Schlittler remains the same. By the way, I love that Cam Schlittler said, I'm good with the All-Star game. Now, he did kind of amend that and say, because he was going to start, and say, hey, if they really need me, I'll throw. But his reasoning was, I respect it so much. He's like, it's a bullpen day for me. It's a throw day. And I don't know if it's the best thing for me to ramp it up, even though it's an all-star exhibition game. It's not like the NBA where you're half-assing it for the first 3.5 quarters, and it's a race to 185 points. Nobody's playing D. It's a layup line where you're not really exerting much energy. Same in hockey, football. I don't even know what they do now. Is it still on the beach? I think it's flag football. I don't even know. I think it's flag football, right? But baseball, which is why I've always enjoyed the All-Star game, is the closest replication of what really transpires during the season, because guys are still running the bases hard. Ground ball to short. He's still going to throw it 90-plus across the diamond. Ball in the gap. You're still going to have an outfielder lay out, try to make a highlight reel play. Pitchers are still coming out, and they're throwing max. So if you hit 99 regularly, you're throwing 99. You're not going to say, well, it's an all-star game, and it's kind of a throw day, and let me throw 91. Let me just throw a little show-me fastball. You are doing what you do if it's a high-leverage moment in September, and it's a very important game for division or a wild card. So I love that he did that. I love that he did that, because it tells me, and not that I needed reinforcement, because he's just a dog. Everything about him screams dog. The other day, he's like, what'd you expect? Basically is what he said. He's like, I don't know who you guys think that I am, but this is bait. And I'm paraphrasing. He dropped an F-bomb in there as well. This is what I do. Like, this is who I am. So all those dissenting voices, anybody chirping on social media, this is what I bring to the table pretty much every start. This is what I expected out of myself. So it's a consistency in his baseball character. It's a consistency in what he deems most important. And it's the Yankees. It's not some meaningless exhibition. Again, he did amend it a little bit, said, hey, if they really, really need me. But you know what's going to happen. The seeds have been planted. Once he said that, out of respect for the Yankees, out of respect for Boone, out of respect for Cashman, this happens all the time. Teams will communicate to the all-star manager, hey, I don't know. If you don't have to use them, please don't use them. Like that, there's open dialogue there. So do I think that Cam Schlittler will pitch tomorrow night? I don't. And I don't need to see him out there. Here's what I need to see. which, by the way, is always my favorite part of the All-Star game, right? I love it. Jay, I love it. First baseman for the New York Yankees. Well, he was usually starting, so he's jogging out. I love when they come flying up the dugout, right? First baseman for the New York Yankees, Don Mattingly. And you just kind of get one of the. I love, and that's why. Like, I've always supported every team having an All-Star game, and this is just a little sidestep here, but it's important to me, and I think you guys will dig it. Like, yeah, I mean, if you really went now, it's a little bit more competitive this year. The White Sox are better. The Pirates are better. Absolutely. It's very congested. We know that. American League is awful, which means everybody pretty much has a chance. So it's maybe a little less obvious who should be an all-star, right? And there were a couple of guys who got squeezed, and that's always the case, snubs in every sport, right? But I always enjoyed watching that one guy for the Pirates, like when they're terrible, some of the other teams, the Rays when they were terrible, that one guy who goes like this is a middle relief pitcher. He's probably not going to pitch, seventh outfield or whatever. But when he does this and he's holding the hat of the team that he plays for in the city in which he plays, there's some 9-year-old boy or girl sitting on their couch saying, "That's my guy. There's our guy, Dad. Hey, look, there's our guy." So I've always loved that. It's my favorite part of the All-Star game. Like, I can't tell you how much I love that. And I don't know. It's a culmination of, first of all, baseball's so freaking hard. All these pro sports are so hard. But also it's like, I don't know, I feel like baseball's the one sport in certain spots where you almost are able to flash back to the roots of your youth when you fell in love with the game. You don't really see that in the NBA All-Star game or hockey, whatever football does. You don't see it because up until last 15 years, it's a joke. But even the Pro Bowl game used to be a bit barbaric. Guys, Tiki told me the story where he told Rondé. No, it wasn't. Who the hell was it? Who was it? Hold on. I think it was Ray Lewis. Tiki got the ball in the hole, and he jukes and he comes through, and Ray's waiting to get him. And he didn't go didn't blast him, but popped him with the pad. And as he's getting ready to bring him down, Tiki's like, "Lay me down." Tiki actually said this. He's like, "Ray, lay me down gently." And Ray kind of, I think, But I do love All-Star Week. I love it even more when the Yankees have a chance to do something. I'm not so sure that they do. They've got a lot of trades to make. I believe they're going to make at least 3 trades. They will have a catcher. They will have 2 bullpen arms. To me, it's not completely implausible that the Yankees have 4 new players. 1 a position player other than a catcher, the catcher, 2 relief arms. If by chance there was a setback with either Fried or Rodon or Garrett Cole I know Cole's pitching, but I don't know what the 5 ERA in June is attributable to. Probably just rust, right? But God forbid if it's something more and they figure this out before the deadline, I think the Yankees could and should make a move for a lower level back of the rotation starter. Just, as you start increasing the offense through trades, and Jazz showing signs of waking up, and Rice is hot again, and hopefully Judge comes back, then I think that could be enough to certainly, battle the Rays for the division all the way through 162. But, some of you get bored by the All-Star game. I'm still a fan of it. The home run derby, to me, it got, and I'm not trying to take a shot at him, but it's so redundant. And, seeing the best hitters in the world hit a 70 mile, if it's even 70, a 70 mile per hour meatball room service, smash me batting practice pitch. For me, there's an expiration point on that. And I liked it when it first came out, like seeing Griffey and those guys, Mark McGuire, like that was cool. And then I kind of aged out. I'm like, I'm not sitting around in my 20s. I'm not sitting around on a Monday night to watch the stupid home run derby and hear Chris Business. Well, I'm not taking a shot, but I could not take it anymore. The incessant back. I can't sit there and listen to 973,000 backs when every ball's leaving the yard. And I do think baseball's done a pretty good job of changing the energy and the dynamics of the home run derby. I'm not going to lie to you and say I love it. I like the All-Star game better. Some of the moments in the All-Star game, when either, if it was like, say, A-Rod kind of nudging Cal Ripken to shortstop, or, just as that symbolic gesture. Mariano, his last performance was amazing. Even highlights, not that I wanted to see poor Ray Fosse get hurt, but Pete Rose destroying Ray Fosse at the plate. Parker's throw from right field. Reggie's home run in Tiger Stadium. Dwight Gooden, I think he struck out 5 or 6 guys, and I think it was consecutive. It was like a murderer's row of hitters that Doc struck out when he was like 19 or 20 years. Like, I love that. Like, I wanted to see Skeens. I wanted to see Cam, though I understand it. You wanted to see a young Kerry Wood, a young Roger Clemens. That stuff is fun. The whole run derby for me is for kids, and that's a good thing. That's not a knock, but it's not really for me. The one thing that would be awesome, my God. So I've always wondered about this. And it came up on a show about a month or so ago. Did you see what Bryce Harper said about what he would do for the home run derby, Jay? I don't know
with
if you
the metal bats in the bonus round. Yeah.
Imagine, so they use like a gold bowl, almost like, same as the 3-point contest, the money bowl. The gold bowl, I guess, is worth more. I forget the exact rules.
Yeah, it's like 3, whatever. It's worth a few more points.
Okay. So he said that when you get to the gold bowl, that everybody should be allowed to use a metal bat. It would leave the stadium. That would be amazing. Josh Hamilton, hitting it to the back of Yankee Stadium in, I don't know, 08, whatever year it was, 08, 07. I don't even know the year. They all kind of blend together. But that would be, like, I'd be intrigued to see, like, would somebody hit one 130 miles per hour off the bat? And for those who don't know, they might. Think about this. Like, elite, I did a deep dive on exit velocity. I'll tell you in a second what I was doing this weekend.
Sure.
The like an elite, like Judge, Stanton, Alonso was generally pretty high with that. Is like 118. That's like top shelf, man. 117, 118, maybe a sniff 120, maybe. Generally like 118, 119. You can't tell me that a metal bat would not produce at least. Well, matter of fact, this is what I was doing this weekend. So I was talking to one of my buddies because I was measuring. Who did I send it to? Here you go. So we were messing around in the basement.
Yeah.
And I've got a pocket radar.
Okay.
So I'll measure his, like, he'll take a crow hop and throw it. And like, not that we're chasing numbers. Like, I'm not a scout.
Come on. What would A-Rod say? No,
but I do believe, true. But I do believe that there's a baseline. That I think, at least if you have a serious baseball player in the family, that you should at least be aware. I don't mean married to, but at least be aware of. And I'll give you a quick example. So like a Division I shortstop, their infield velocity across the diamond is really, supposed to be between, say, 90 to 90 plus miles an hour.
Yep.
And then they go D2. Then they go like D3 and JUCO. And you just see the gradual decrease. And same with 60-yard dash. Like they say, shortstops would run between a 6'5" and a 6'6" at the power, power 4 level, Division I, and it decreases by 1/10 of a second or 2/10 of a second as you get lower. So I'm just curious of the numbers, right? So I was doing it in the basement with my son because now I'm like, and I didn't even think about this. I got it primarily for throwing. But then I figured out, I'm like, whoa. If he's hitting off a tee and I stand behind him, why isn't it the same thing? So I'll do that. And there's you got to hit a line. If you hit it a little bit too high, doesn't register. If you hit it, if you're rolling over off a tee, that's probably not a good sign at all. But aside from that, but if you hit a line drive and it's on the same level as the tee, like I'm sitting there, I'm holding the device up like that, you get a pretty good accurate measurement. So of course I had to do an AI deep dive. Every 5 miles of ball exit speed gained equals an additional 25 feet. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Now it's obviously different off the tee versus hitting a pitch because the pitcher's applying the velocity. You're going to get, 1 or 2 or 3, maybe more miles per hour more. The point is, turn this into a scouting combine here. My bad. The point is, if you gave Bryce Harper a metal bat, and for every 5 miles per hour of bat speed that you generate of exit velo, that equates to 25 feet. The jump from the wood to the metal, right, would probably, just based on the math, would absolutely give you at 50 plus more feet. No question. That's conservatively speaking. So you get these guys, who who are with a batting practice fastball and to the inch, they know where they're looking for that barrel. They're not missing it by more than an inch. That's still going to probably leave the yard. I honestly believe that balls will be flying out of any single stadium. I'd like to see it. It'd be fun. It'd be fun.
Yeah, no, I think it would be cool. It'd be a cool shakeup. I just think, bring more eyes, just a little more juice, young, not younger eyes necessarily, but just more of a social media pop for the MLB if they did that.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Listen, I know that these numbers are, the older generation scoffs at it like, I don't know about that. Ray, hang on, but I'm going to get to you in a minute there, Ray. I see the call starting to pop up. I got you. But even I was looking at this, then I had to do a deeper dive. I'm like, okay, well, if I'm looking at, how much further, 25 more feet every 5 miles per hour, what's a good area to be in as a kid? And I'm looking at this now. I sent this to my buddies, right? Ages 8 to 9, you want to be, the average range is 35 to 40 miles per hour. And 45 miles or off a tee is elite is considered 45, right? Then you get to like age 10, 11, average range is 45 to 50, and then the elite is 55 plus. So like I'm not gonna tell you what my son was doing. I don't want to be that guy, but I wanted just a baseline sense of like what's considered really good and what's not. And but I do think there's a fine line. But either way, let's get the metal bats out. I don't think they're gonna do it. But whatever, it was a good example. It was a good recommendation by Bryce. Like I like when players bring something to the table and they're like, hey, let's try this. Let's do that. This will be cool. This will be fun. Like, why not? Take ownership of the game,
You're going to love this question, man.
What do we got here? Hold on. At JP Girl Dad. Love the girl dads. I was watching my daughter play softball last night. I don't know if I need a 7:45 first pitch on a Sunday night.
No,
that was a little at 7:45. And I almost got pulled into umpiring. Meanwhile, I played, and I would have done it. But I got, we had our sectional game, and we have another one tonight for my son's all-star team, like the districts. I told you about this. Mm-hmm. We lost a brutal game to a good team on Saturday, 3-2, last inning. And then we won yesterday, another quality team. Now tonight, we're playing a team. If we win, we keep playing. If they win, we're done. Like we got to win 3 straight games to win the sectional. So it's pretty daunting, right? So I was there all day and it was great. It was a little hot out, but it was awesome. We won. It was good. And then I actually stuck around. My wife took my son and 3 or 4 of his buddies on the team to go get ices. I'll get to this chat in a second, I promise. I stayed and watched the game and scouted the other teams because I knew we were playing one of them tonight. Yeah. I mean, what do you really, but you try to glean anything you can, right? And then my daughter had a game 7:45 first pitch. Now that's one thing if it's even on a Thursday night, she's only 9. Like, that's kind of late for younger kids. Yeah. But for a Sunday night, now I don't have to get on a train and schlep into the city or drive in like I used to, but a lot of people do. So not only was it it was also a makeup game, to be fair. It's nobody's fault. But not only was it 7:45, dude, the umpire comes strolling in at like 8:03. Oh, so they were asking me, they're like, B, would you be okay umpiring? I'm like, yeah, no, if you guys need me, absolutely. Meanwhile, I'm wearing like slip-on boat shoes. I'm like, I look like a complete schmuck out there, but at least I know the strike zone. Thank God he finally comes in. Game ended, left the field. Like, I actually had to leave early to go and pick up my son. My wife stayed because he was fishing at the pond with his buddy. Hey. Brody. I mean, we just so much shit's going on in a good way. But that 7:45. 7:45. Anyway, I do like watching the girls play. It's so different than watching baseball. It's so different. All right. Any tips for a young player, 14 years, to overcome a recent bad habit of stopping their swing upon contact? Yeah, you do see that with a lot of kids. Daughter's been playing 4 years, but past few months started to not fully extend the swing through. All right, keep that up there. That's interesting because generally that's a problem. And I'm guessing she plays travel or I don't think she's just playing rec at 14. She seems to be on the club or the travel circuit. That's my guess. I would think that I'm right on that. So she's probably, taking some lessons. She's been playing for a while. Like the 2 things that I've seen with young players, softball and baseball. So I'll try to do this as a lefty here. See if I can. A lot of young kids, because they're not strong enough, right? Where's my hands? Okay. The camera, because there you go. Thank you. So they'll have a tendency to go around the ball, to go like rather than staying connected and punching through the ball, right? They'll go outside. Now, some of them do it because the bat's too heavy. Some of them do, and it's fine, young kids. Some of them do it because they just don't practice, and that's on the parent. I don't know what you want me to tell you. If you want to get good, you got practice. Some of them do it because they're a little afraid of the pitch, which I also get it at a young age, and they're kind of like stepping out as a lefty. Maybe I kind of go toward the first base dugout, and as my weight pulls me that way, my bat goes the other way. And that's common at a young age. This is an interesting question because that's not really common to start happening at the age of 14. Now, if you told me, I think this would be easier to answer. If you said, hey, BT, my daughter, she loves softball. She can run. She's a good pitcher, can play a little defense, whatever, make some good contact. But she's had this penchant since she started playing of not plowing through contact. I maybe that's a little bit more correctable. This is a little bit more confounding because based on what you write, it's a new thing that's kind of permeated her swing. So that's a little bit more. That's probably more frustrating as a dad watching that. I get that because when there's regression, not that you get mad at them, but you're like, oh, come on, you didn't do this a year ago, or we've been working on this. Why aren't you doing it? Because it's hard. That's why we forget. I would say one thing. He didn't have that. I remember, if I had, and I'm doing this with my daughter now, I think the biggest mistake, and because I hadn't played in so long, because he always watched Aaron Judge. So, and when my son started, he would keep his hands almost by his left ear. His right ear is like almost over an eye, because he would see Judge do it every night. You're not going to be 6'8", you're not going to be Aaron Judge, right? But he made a lot of contact at the lower levels, and he could run. So and he was very high average. I didn't see an issue. And then as you start branching out and you start playing better players faster, but number one, if the bat's here, to load it, it's just, you're going to probably not be on time. So that's a problem. But you're also not going to have a lot of power because if you're starting here, you're probably not loading. So we worked on that, and he wound up hitting a lot of home runs for him, for this year. And I'm really proud of him. There are things that pop up, and it's hard. I would say one thing that you could do, we don't do this that much. It's in the basement, but we do it more during the winter. I got a tire. Went to a tire shop. Hey, you got an extra spare tire? Yeah. I'll hold the tire, and now you don't want to use your game bat. You don't want to use a gamer, either wood or something that he kind of outgrew or she outgrew. Bats aren't cheap. So they may as well get something out of it. Really swing and smash the tire so that they're feeling contact, like boom, 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 hard. But the key, though, if you do that too much, because it's kind of a truncated swing because the tire's in the way. So, like, if the bat's banging the tire like that, God, I got to be a coach is what I got to be, right? As the bat's banging the tire, you're stopping. So that actually doesn't help you because you're telling me that she's stopping upon contact. So what I'll do with him, do it, and then reroute the bat and finish your swing. Yeah, I'm sure you've taken some lessons. I'm curious what their feedback would be. I'd also be curious if this could be it. If the pitching, because some of these girls throw absolute darts, man. Like, I'm already at the point warming up some of our baseball players because my vision's just not what it was. And I don't want to be out there like this. Hey, come on, buddy. These are more readers like, oh, come on. And I'm not even just talking about my son. I'm talking about other kids I could, come on, I got to look like a ball player. I can't be wearing glasses. But I'm kind of getting a little nervous. So he threw a two-seamer. Honestly, it almost took my teeth out. And he was just messing around with a two-seamer. He's like, you like that? I'm like, yeah. I'm like saying to myself, number one, start throwing that in games. And number two, holy shit, thank God I caught that because it moved. I'm like, I do know that once the velo jumps and you're away from coach pitch underhand as a softball player at very young age, throwing as a dad to young boys, some kids just, they've got to learn to, you can't be afraid, and you're going to get hit and it's going to hurt, and then it's going to hurt. It's going to go away and you take your base. Right. maybe she's stopping contact because has there been an elevated jump in velo and she's a little, I don't know, unsure or afraid's a little strong, but aware of that maybe. So I don't have the exact answer because I haven't seen her swing. But that would be my guess. Coach Tierney says that's the guess here, J-Rod. That's how we fix it.
Very interesting. Oh,
yeah.
Quick aside. I don't know if I spoke about this kid before. Yesterday, one of my former rec basketball teammates / just like high school classmates got drafted to the Cleveland Guardians.
What?
My boy Matt Scott, my former. Come on, I used to dish this kid out assists. I don't know if he got any assists to me, but he was a right-handed pitcher, Georgia bullpen guy.
Wow.
Used to play for Stanford. Yeah, 8th round to the Guardians. So congratulations, Matt Scott, my guy.
Absolutely, that is awesome. I want to look up his perfect game profile real quick. I know he's a stud. He's a righty or a lefty?
Righty.
All right, he's got to be throwing 95. I mean, how tall is he? Is he big or no?
He's probably 6'4".
That's great size.
6'4", yeah.
Got some meat on him?
Yeah, 100%.
Big boy. Wow.
100%.
Okay. And you were on the same team with him?
In rec basketball.
At what age? What age?
I was a senior in high school. I guess he's a year or two younger than me, probably.
He is 22. No, he's older. Yes.
A year younger.
He's young. He's 22 and 5 months. I got his perfect game profile.
Okay.
Wow. Committed to Georgia.
Yeah.
What a stud. This kid, this perfect game site's unbelievable. So his name is Matt Scott. Shout out to Matt. Shout out to his family. My God, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
National ranking, 132nd best player in the country.
Good for
him. 40th best right-handed pitcher. I mean, now these rankings aren't perfect, but overall in the state of Connecticut, 1 overall pitcher, 1. Let's see.
That's crazy.
90. So, wow, shoot. Oh, my, this kid throws gas. He was clocked at 93 miles an hour in 2021.
Holy. So he was 17?
Yeah, there you go. Do the math real quick. Sure. Yeah, 5 years ago.
Gosh.
He's got to be hitting 98, 99. There's no doubt. How about this? Matt Scott. You're going to like this. Matt Scott's a 2022 right-handed pitcher, first base. Could he hit as well when he was younger or no?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I didn't see a ton of games in my time, but yeah.
6'6".
Oh, whoa. I don't
230.
remember that.
Wow. From Reading, Connecticut, who attends Joe Barlow.
Let's go.
Yeah, look at that. I'm telling you, I'm reading the scouting report. Extra large athletic frame, broad shoulders, present strength throughout, additional room to grow moving forward, right-handed pitcher, big rock step into a big then they get a little I mean, I like that, but whatever. Sliders up to 84 with a late short bite, tunnels it well out of the hand, playing off a fastball nicely, flash the changeup at 82. Again, this is in 2021 with occasional fade to arm side. How about this? Excellent student, verbal to Stanford. You were right?
Yeah.
Let's
Absolutely.
go, Jay.
Great guy. I mean, he was such a awesome. Even just great dude. I just remember growing up.
That's tremendous, man. That is absolutely
shout
tremendous.
out him and Charlie Morton was the last MLB player.
Oh, pitcher Charlie forever
to go to my high school.
Any basketball players or football or no?
Oh God, no. Football, maybe. Basketball players, dude. When there was a dunk, when our team would get a dunk, you would think that LeBron James just hit a buzzer beater to win a state championship. It would be a 6'1" guy getting like a rim grazing dunk, and people would be going nuts.
You got the 6'1" white guy who gets a half court steal and has a 20-foot running start, maybe more, and he just barely squeaks it down. Yeah, everybody goes nuts. Meanwhile, in the cities, you got windmills, you got, throwing it back from here.
Yeah, we'd play the team from Bridgeport or whatever, and those dudes would be getting the one-hand dunks every time. And then the only way our team could dunk is a fast break off the backboard alley-oop type situation where the guy can't even really get a dunk if he jumped with the ball himself.
Yep. Oh, I know. Trust me, that was pretty much me. The other thing too, and I want to get something on Lindor. I want us to do a little time on the commissioner as well, very briefly. WNBA. That was interesting with Dan Patrick. I got some thoughts on that. So, as I said, there's wins that stabilize, and then there's character wins that gives you a little bit more hope that it wasn't as dire as we felt it was in real time. And a lot of times that is the case. If you're just tuning in, I don't want to just keep repeating this, but the brief synopsis. Baseball is the one sport, like when you look bad, you look bad, because especially if you're not hitting, because you look as if there's a lack of interest, and it's definitely not a lack of effort. It's just very hard to do, even though we don't want to hear that. Now, the Yankees make it harder because I think their approach is broken from whatever they teach in the minors, guys swinging for the moon, 0-2 swing, the same as a 3-1 pitch, all things that I've said. But and then you mix in some shoddy defense, and it's just like, oh God, like, team looks broken. You're not broken until you're actually broken. And what broken means is ousted from the playoffs, or ousted from wild card contention, or just, overall playoff contention. So it was never like final. There was never any finality to it in terms of this is absolutely not it, because we've all worked under the premise that there's just a lot of variables, which makes it hard to forecast. Like, when is Judge coming back? Is Judge coming back? And then the other things, much lesser concern, a Rodon, a Fried who looks like he's on the mend, and the trades. So there was always 3, 4, 5 variables that you had to bake in if you were trying to be fair to the Yankees, which I'm in the business of being fair. And you have to love the way they ended the first half. You have to love it. Now, we'll get a read right out of the chute, because guess who's waiting? The big bad Dodgers. And, the Nationals are improved, but they'll be a playoff team. I was looking at the first 2, 4, 6, I guess that's 8 or 9 opponents, which is encompassing basically a full month out of the second half, out of the All-Star break, right? Yankees start with the Dodgers, okay? All right, it's going to be tough. We'll see. Then it's Pirates, right? Who are 2, and the Pirates are better than they've been. I didn't look that far ahead. There's I guess there's a 60% probability that you run into Skeens, right? Based on, or 20. Hey, hold on. Yeah. But I may have just totally messed up that math. Help me out, J-Rod from Connecticut, smart guy, Syracuse.
What?
If there's 5 starters, obviously one starting pitcher represents 20%, 150 rotation. But in a 3-game series, that would equate to a 60% chance of seeing one guy, correct? If he's healthy.
Yeah, I think
okay,
I
did
so.
get it right.
Yes.
In my brain, it sounded right, or it felt right, but when I said it, I don't know if it sounded right, but I think it's right. Okay, and if it doesn't, whatever. So then you got to face the Pirates, who are better than they've been, and you might face Skeens. Then you face the Phillies, who since my man Donnie took over, boom, renaissance, good team, playoff team, lock. Then you face the White Sox. They've had a nice renaissance. Right now they're tied for the American League Central, all right? Now, I'm not saying there's some juggernaut, but they're not going to roll over for you the way previous White Sox teams did. It'll be tough. Then you can play the Cubs. Cubs are all over the up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But the Cubs are a competent team capable of winning games and taking 2 out of 3, if not sweeping. I thought the Cardinals were going to be wretched. I thought the Cardinals, and I wasn't alone. I'm not saying I know every player on the Cardinals roster. I'm not saying that. But the moves that they made, what they didn't do in free agency, I thought the Cardinals were going to be, maybe a step above the Rockies. I really thought that they just downshifted to rebuild it up. And it's a great organization that I've got a lot of respect for. So you would think that their rebuild would be quicker than teams like the Rockies, et cetera. And here we are. They're not going to be a playoff team. I strongly don't think that, but they're competent. Then you got to play the Braves, outstanding. Then you got to play Seattle, really good pitching, tough team. So think about that. Dodgers, the best. Pirates, competitive. Phillies, really good. White Sox, good. Cubs, good. Cards, better than I thought, and competitive and athletic and young. Braves, really good. And Seattle, depending upon who you see on the mound, really good. And then after that, you may as well just push it to the end of the season, which I'm not. And then after that, it's Toronto and the Orioles. Now, by then, the Orioles will be stripped down. Whatever they're going to sell off, they're going to sell off. Vladdy's had one of the most confounding first halves for an elite player that I can remember in a long time. I don't know what's going on with him. I saw some video on social media. His back foot, the way his toe so as a righty, his right foot, the way his toe gets engaged to open his hips, and I don't know what's going on. It can't be a toe tap or just a slight opening of the hips. It's got to be more. I just don't know what it is. But the point is, when you face Toronto, very well might be facing Vlad, like, the Vlad that we come to know here. So it's not going to be easy. But yeah, you have to feel better. I feel better. Don't feel great, but I feel better. All right. J-Rod, keep getting those chats up, by the way,
Real
whether it's
quick.
about, we got.
What is your grade for the Yankees first half of the season? I don't know if you wanted to do this in a later video this week, but I'm curious as to first half of the season, break it down, maybe expectations prior, looking at it, going into the second half. What is like, ABC?
Less than I thought, for sure. Remember, I told you guys when we were still on the fan, I thought that the Yankees would win. I put the Yankees at 94 wins, and I put the Mets at 91. I mean, obviously, I missed that Met one by a mile. I think we all did. I would say right now, based on sweeping the Nats and getting the 3 there, I still think the Yankees are going to be under 94. Not by much. 92, maybe by a game. 90. I just feel like 94 is a bit ambitious the way they played. So based on what I thought they would be, it's not like they're going to finish with 82 wins, which would be an F based on expectations. I wasn't going to really grade the players. That's everybody kind of does that. I'll give you just a brief. I wasn't going to do that for content, but I appreciate you asking me about that. So I'm not giving anything away. I would say in totality, based on what I thought the Yanks would be and where they are right now, and factoring in injuries and all that stuff, I would say that the Yankees, for me, are either I'd say the Yankees are, I think a C+ is unfair. I'm kind of thinking that. I'll go B-. I think the Yankees were a B-. Cam's been great. Ben had that 15-game stretch where he was awful, but Ben's been great. Grisham Trent Grisham has stabilized things a bit. Judge was really good, not quite like he was previous years, but really good before he got hurt. Bellinger's had a disappointing year. I know he's been in an elongated funk here, and his numbers just aren't very impressive. But I love Belly. But I'd say he's probably a B-. Like if he was a poor defender, he'd be a C- at this point. He's been a little bit disappointing. Yankees, but forget about the volley. He stinks. The bullpen, there's some arms out there mystifying why they keep using them or why they don't pitch as well as they do, or as well as we thought they might. I'm going to say B-. I think that I'm comfortable with that. B-. And if they would have, this is how tenuous their situation was. Touch and go. Like if the Yankees, say if they would have lost that last game to the Rays, which we all thought that they would have, right? Lose 3 out of 4 rather than split 2 out of 4. And if they would have lost 2 out of 3 this weekend to the Nats, now it's a C-. No question. Now there's no question in my mind. So they got a lot of work to do there, J-Rod. Does that satisfy your query? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's a good answer. I feel like it's pretty pragmatic based on anything because it's not like overly emotional where you're going, oh, like this losing streak or whatever is absolutely direct. Like, no, I think that's a pretty even keeled response.
Yeah, I think it's fair. And I think it's largely consistent with how I've talked about them all year. Yeah. Because at one point they were an A, and then at one point they were an F. But they've been more of an A than they've been an F. So, if you have the A and the F, I mean, and it's equitable, 50% A, 50% F, which it's not. But if it was, well, then it's an easy answer, C. But because there's been more A than F, a lot more A than F, now that C's got to slide up to a C+ or a B-. So I'm going to settle on a B- here and hope it goes up. I'm not sure that it will, but hope that it goes up. Notorious Dole 13. What's going on, buddy? The MLB draft has no hype because most of the players drafted will never make an impact in baseball on the major league level. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to try to shove the Major League Baseball draft down your throat. What I do is I get into stories that I appreciate. I always look at what the Yankees did. I always look at what the Mets did. How many shortstops did each team pick? How many, what they do the first couple of picks? Any local stories, like Volpe a couple of years ago. Local stories that are not even pertaining to the Yankees or the Mets, but, just towns in, city or towns in New Jersey or, over the years, a bunch of guys where I grew up in Brooklyn have been drafted. I love to follow that. Like that. I always enjoy that. I do watch some college baseball. Actually, I watch a lot of college baseball. So I'm familiar with some of the better players, definitely familiar with the better programs. So I've seen a few of these guys, at least on a cursory level, more as the regional and the super regional start. Then I'm really dialed in, and then I'm watching the College World Series as much as possible. But it's not so much that they won't make an impact in Major League Baseball, which is partially true because the fail rate is just different. It's just hard. I just think it's a lack of connection to the names or the stories. I mean, think about this. A guy gets drafted in, now I don't mean an obscure linebacker for Middle Tennessee State, no disrespect, or Sam Houston State, or Bowling Green, or Toledo. Toledo actually had a really good safety this year. I don't mean stories like that where you don't know the dude. I'm talking about, every single quarterback, even the ones from smaller schools, because every website's writing about them. Every big program from the SEC. You watch Michigan, you watch Ohio State. You watch these teams. I like to watch Iowa. I love their coach. I love their defense. I love their crowd. I love their traditions. Indiana's been a great story last couple of years. I even watched Penix when he was at Indiana. So there's more name recognition. Now, there was a point where the NBA draft was just like, I'm going to just pop this up. This was, to me, this was the wheelhouse. Just to illuminate something here. This was the wheelhouse of my fandom, even though it was not the formative stage, because I really started becoming a fan of baseball when I was probably 5. Basketball shortly thereafter. And basketball and football were about the same time. I just found football confusing when I was like 6 years old. Like there was a lot of penalties and a lot of players. Like baseball, you can kind of isolate. Plus, I was doing that in the backyard with my dad before anything. All right, but when I was younger, these guys would stick around 3-4 years. No real bouncing. If you transferred, you had to sit out. No NIL. Very different. No European players, and European players are great. But let's face it, I don't know anything about these players until I see them drafted or I see something online, and I do a little work. So the 85 draft is when the Knicks got Patrick, right? My guy, Pat, who I hated at Georgetown but loved as a Knick. So Ewing played 4 years. Saw him every single Saturday on CBS, game of the week, stud. All these guys are studs in college, but everybody knew Ewing. He's one of the biggest names in the sport. Wayman Tisdale at Oklahoma, rest in peace, by the way, was a good pro, but a great college player. Also a really good musician as well. Was it the violin or the guitar?
He was a bassist.
Bass. There you go. Thank you. Now, I didn't see Benoit Benjamin play that. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Of course, the Clippers take Benoit Benjamin because they're the Clippers, but he played at Creighton. Now, if Creighton was in the Big East then like it is now, because I watched McDermott, I watched all these guys, right? Well, when they were in the Big East, I called their games when they played St. John's. Then I would have known Benoit Benjamin. But the way the world was back then, I never saw him play once, all right? You're just like, oh, he's a big dude. All right, everybody's taking a flyer on a big guy. Xavier McDaniel, really good pro. Knicks for a minute. Didn't see him play at Wichita State either. So that's a little bit of an aberration. But then obviously Mullen went 7th overall. Ed Pinckney was a top 10 pick. Villanova. Keith Lee at Memphis was in the Final Four along with St. John's, Villanova, and Georgetown in 85. Bill Wennington, obviously a St. John player, was drafted in the top 16. Sam Vincent from Michigan State. You'd always see Michigan State on TV. Like these are guys, you knew all these dudes, right? You knew them all. So the problem, and there's nothing, like I got no problem calling out, I'm going to get into the WNBA after, so I'm going to definitely call out a commissioner. But I got no problem calling out a commissioner if I think that there's things that can be done to elevate the product here. But I really just don't think there's anything that baseball can do that would elevate their draft to a level that becomes, forget about must watch, but just more appealing. It's never going to be must watch. It's never going to be mainstream, but just where it's not such like, who got drafted? What pick did the Yankees have? No, you think about this. This is a good example too. When you're a terrible team, right? You're thinking about the lottery in the NBA, or you need a quarterback in the NFL. Jets have 3 first-round picks. Hopefully, they're not picking 1 or 2, because then that means this year went awfully awry, and I think they'll be competitive a little bit. But the quarterbacks, what you need, when you're drafting, what other capital you have, how much salary cap space you have, all that on lock, everything chapter and verse. In baseball, Like I just told you, I looked at some of the players the Yankees drafted. I actually forgot what number they drafted. I forgot what number the Mets drafted. Like there was not one point during. Now the Yankees are historically very good, so I'm not like, oh, Yankees had the first pick and this guy throws 101 miles an hour at Georgia or whatever school it might be. You don't process it that way. They do the combine, which again gets no juice, not like the NFL combine. But I watch with my son a little bit. Like to see the drills, like to see the arm strength, like to see the body types, like to hear the guys talk about the game. I find that very interesting. But I'm a baseball geek. I am. I love it. I love the mechanics of it. Love the numbers of it. But I don't think that everybody is with me on that. I get it. That's why I try not to shove it down your throat outside of when I turn into a coach, which I can't help on occasion there, J-Rod, But really, that's how I would answer that. Some things you just can't control, J-Rod, let me ask you this. Is there anything that, now you're a lot younger than me, so you've seen guys bouncing around, transferring for a minute now, NIL, last couple of years, but is there anything, but you still know all the college players, you watch the big dance, you love basketball. Is there anything that baseball could do that would, I think the answer is going to be no, but you tell me, that Major League Baseball could do that would make J-Rod some devout follower of Major League Baseball's draft? No.
I can't think of a single thing. I mean, no, because the only thing that they could, it's not a flaw. It's not a knock on the sport. It's just how the system works. I think the only reason that the NBA and the NFL draft get so much juice is because the players who are getting drafted become immediate impact players for the teams that they're getting drafted on. Like
Correct.
AJ Diabonsa, a Darren Peterson, a Darius Acuff, a Fernando Mendoza. Like these players are going to make an immediate impact on the field. And so there is just a level of excitement of, okay, this is our next guy. There's that kind of thought of this guy's our next guy. Where I just think when there's so many question marks around, will you ever see this player actually play for your favorite team? I don't think a lot of Yankees fans or Mets fans actually are. I wouldn't say a lot of them are even fans of the Cyclones or the Somerset Patriots. Like I would say most Yankee fans do not watch Somerset Patriot games.
Yeah.
And so when you're drafting a player, more likely than not, they're going to spend their career on the Somerset Patriots. And so there isn't that intense, I guess, hype up for this is the future Yankee.
You nailed it.
Future,
you nailed
whatever.
You
White
nailed
Sox.
it. There's no savior coming in like Patrick Ewing did in 85 or Jordan did the year before or Zion was supposed to, a couple of years ago with the Pelicans, just elevated the moment he steps on the court and walks in the building. That's part of it. Oh, by the way, did you see that the Yankees drafted Andy Pettit's son?
Yes, I did. That was cool.
That's the stuff I love. And I do love the footage of, in any sport, the families and just the reaction you get, the call.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. And baseball, maybe I'm biased here because that's what I played, but baseball, I don't even know if this is accurate, but baseball is more of a grind. Like it is. I think that's accurate. I do. It's just more of an obscure grind. You know what I mean? Now, Perfect Game and these heightened platforms has made it less obscure for sure. Mm-hmm. Like I watch Perfect Game, not like a lunatic, but I'll pop it on once in a while on online. Maybe like like an all-state competition at the higher levels. Mm-hmm. I'll watch that. I remember a couple of years ago we went down to Houston and Florida. When my son was 8, we played like Team Georgia, and that's a little bit early for that stuff, but it was fun. Some parents are all in on that. I think it's more about development. I kind of tap the brakes on that. I don't know if it's the right move, but that's what I believe myself. Rather than playing 100 games a year, especially baseball, I believe the development stages are much more important in terms of fundamentals. But I do like watching that. So there's a heightened awareness of who the best players are in the country, but not enough where you're going to jump off your couch or with bated breath, hey, who are we drafting? Or have debates with your buddies. No, we got to take this guy. I've never had one, literally 0.0. And you look at my phone, my text thread, a lot of these guys played college ball. I have not once had a conversation with my boys like, yo, who should the Yankees draft? Not once in my entire life. Not once. I don't think anybody has. So I get it. It's a good question. It's a good point, but I can't fault the NBA there. I really can't. Pardon me. I can't fault Major League Baseball. What's this here? Hold on. Create a spectacle, bring music, artists, highlight the stories, the team's families. See, that's what I don't want.
Yeah,
that's what I don't
know, because the NFL tries it and it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't have. No one cares. Like, not to be that guy, bro.
What?
Like, dude, no one's watching the NFL draft to watch who's the lead singer of Poison, bro.
Poison, Brett Michaels.
Yes, bro. Like, no one's watching the NFL draft going, yo, dude, I gotta catch this Brett Michaels performance right now.
That's a very interesting reference. I mean, it's been antiquated at this point.
No, he performed this year at the NFL draft.
Did he?
Yes.
I didn't even know that.
Think about how crazy that is.
Well, they couldn't get Belle Biv DeVoe doing Poison, their version of Poison.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Poison.
Oh, shout out AJ Ewing, man. Oh my dude, that's the best walk-up song in the MLB right now.
Which one?
AJ Ewing, Poison, Belle Biv DeVoe.
Now you know.
It's so cool.
Slick.
But that's just. I think that's what they say. I think drafts need to go as far away as they can from any entertainment spectacles or anything like that.
It's bad enough we got to sit there for 40 minutes during the freaking Super Bowl when they roll out some stupid stage and play songs that, even if it's groups that I love, I've always. I mean, I'm not gonna get into a Super Bowl talk, but that is when especially when I was betting a lot. Now I'm just walking outside, I'm grabbing a drink, I'm looking at the lines. And I'm counting the minutes down to get back to the game. Like, the more it's not about the game, the less I'm interested. My wife loves that stuff. I can't stand it. I don't have any interest in it. I don't care. I told you I've been on a huge Bob Seger kick, and I've always liked Bob, but like, even if it was Bob Seger, and I remember telling Tiki, we had a great idea. I mean, I had a great idea, and Tiki rubber stamped it. I remember saying, because for a long time, nobody debated like, oh, we're going to have this group's playing it. I don't even mean from a political perspective, which obviously people do debate now, but independent of that nonsense that you can't escape. There was a point where whomever the NFL announced as their performer, we just accepted it. Like, oh, cool, Michael Jackson. Oh, cool, Whitney Houston. Oh, cool, whomever, right? But then as it started changing, and I do get this, like, you've got 100-something million people watching, just in our country alone, watching the Super Bowl. You don't want to just cater to, say, country music, which is a small, and I like some country music, but, not everybody does. I get it. Not everybody likes rap. I get it. So what I said, dude, it takes long enough. Just do this. You got enough money. Instead of like one massive stage, have at each corner, okay, of the stadium, have each like a genre represented. There's an old school rock act. Oh, Mick Jagger. No, he's getting old, but he can still rock. Mick Jagger and the Stones. There's, give it up, little 90s West Coast rap. Give it up for Snoop and Dre, Yeah. And then you have, I don't know, give me somebody current now. I don't know.
Drake. I don't know.
Yeah, Drake. I mean, yeah. Who was
Kendrick Lamar?
Something more something like that. And then you want to have like a country western. Fine. And you just, boom.
Ella Langley.
Boom. Yep. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody, if you want to watch it, everybody's got a little piece of something that they'll enjoy rocking out to. And if you really want to I've said this for years, they just don't do it. And then what you could do is at the end, you could have a collaboration.
Ooh,
now that's going to take a lot of coordination, and they the four groups, bands, singers, whatever, come together and they do one jam.
That'd be sick.
An equally agreed upon song that everybody can sing, get behind. No politics, no bullshit. Let's just sing the song.
Yeah, logistically, I don't think that's too I think the multiple stages is tough I think not even from like a space aspect, but from a television aspect, which one are you going to focus on?
Oh, but no, Jay, I'm going to tell you. So let's say take the pylon, right? In each end zone. So have the stage in the vicinity. Yeah. And now, hey, ladies, we'll give it up for Drake.
You just do like 3 minutes of one person, 3 minutes of another. Boom, boom.
Yes. Then the lights go out, and then, give it up for, I don't know, whomever you want to give it up for.
So it's 3 minutes. WWE Elimination Chamber almost. I don't know if you remember those kinds of matches, but it'd be like,
I do.
Boom, I like it. I like it.
I've always said that. I mean, you're appealing to everybody. I don't know.
I like
All right. So Did you see what Lindor said? Didn't say much, but I
saw
thought
it.
what he said, I thought it spoke volumes. John Heyman reported that Francisco Lindor said, quote, no comment twice when asked about his willingness to waive his no trade. Now, Jay, I need you. Don't even put yourself on camera right now. Not that I mind looking at your face there, but just imagine you're a reporter, Jay, and frame the question however you want, but make sure the meat of the question is asking me, and I'm going to be Lindor, my willingness, am I open-minded to waiving the no trade, which is ironclad? Go ahead, Jay. I'm going to give you two answers, the right answer and the wrong answer.
All right. Hey, Francisco, been a rough first half of the season, obviously with the deadline coming up in a month or so, Mets are potentially looking to make some moves. How would you feel about waiving your no trade clause?
No comment. Now you got to ask me again.
Hey, Francisco. Rough first half of the season. How'd you feel about waiving your no trade clause coming up with the deadline?
No comment. That's one way to answer it. Now ask it again.
So, Francisco.
I like the different tones here. Pretending you're somebody else.
Listen, I'm Joel Sherman, then I'm someone else. So, Francisco, really rough first half of the season, with the deadline coming up, would you waive your no trade clause?
Listen, we got to get back to playing ball here. I think to look at this season, the first half, I blame myself as much as anybody. To view this start to the season as anything other than a failure is the wrong interpretation. We've had some injuries, we've had some circumstances, guys we counted on got hurt. It happens in the game. We've had some bad luck, but we just have not played well enough, and it starts with me. So it's my intention to play ball and to come out swinging in half number 2 and to try to get this thing back on the rails. That's how you answer the question. Because by saying no comment, it opens up dialogue like this, like I'm about to present to you. When you say no comment in a terse, short, dismissive, however you want to describe it, man, I'm not saying he was trying to be rude, but he didn't add anything to it. It wasn't like, hey, guys, no comment on that. Listen, my contract's my contract. I love being a New York Met. I know he said in the past, but it's getting worse and worse and worse. Yeah, he said in the past he loves being a Met, but he could have parsed it with some things that would have softened it, which I think would have disarmed people and probably not given them as much incentive to circle back to it today, like I am. So when you do that and it's just no comment, now you got to read tone. Now you got to read inflection. Now you've got to read intent. And that's always dangerous because we're not always right. I mean, most times you could tell through body language, through tone, through eye contact, and all the other things that, interpersonal communication, nonverbal, verbal, all the things that we take from athletes or politicians or whomever, relationships we're in, and try to deduce what they mean. Well, I think by doing what he did, I think it was foolish because instead of stunting the noise, I believe it's adding to it. And I believe that was dumb, unless it's intentional. And unless Francisco Lindor's like, you know what, I'm done with this shit, without saying that, but by no comment, being smart enough to think that it might lead to people thinking that he's done with it, mainly the Mets. And maybe he wants out. Because, I mean, I know it's not the same. It's not even remotely the same. But in situations like this, I try to personalize it. And trust me, man, like I have obviously moved forward, and so have they. And I've got love for the fan. This is not a negative thing at all. I'm very happy and proud that I got to work there. That was really important for me. You guys know that, right? But when me and Sal were on the air that day, and the news broke on social media. Now, we were abreast of what could happen with Craig, but it breaks during our show. And we plowed through it very professionally, which we were very proud of. And because we had conversations before, and our boss, Chris, he's like, listen, just you guys can stay on the air as long as you want. We don't know what's going to happen yet, because he trusted us. And we weren't going to betray that trust to our show, to our corporate leadership. we weren't going to do the station dirty, right? So we handled it very well, and we're both proud of that. But just say, now nobody cares about me or him the way you care about Lindor. I get that. That's why I'm not equating the two. But my personalization, say if, and this has happened in the past, especially when Bob Raceman used to, Bob has not written in a long time. I remember Mushnick called me once or twice. Bob and I went back and forth a bunch over a bunch of things over the years, right? Where he would write a story and I might reach out to him, hey, you missed this. Or when me and Francesa had the blow up, I remember him calling me. I'm like, no, I'm not getting into it. Hey, listen, find it from, I'm not going to perpetuate this. I want to move on. But imagine after that show, when it broke on social media, that Craig's coming back. And then somebody calls me after the show, hey, you know, we saw this and so, this outlet reported that Craig's coming back to the station. What does this mean for you? What's your comment? You know, what's your position? Very basically, what's going on? And if I would have said no comment, like, I don't know, isn't that to me, that's omitting. Now, sometimes you can't comment because legally you can. I didn't have that issue. I didn't have those restraints. But I think that would have kind of, like, to me, sometimes when you say no comment, it's a window to the, depending upon how you say it, it's a window to the soul of what you're truly feeling. There's a situation, I don't know why I'm doing a lot of acting today, but there's a situation, you know, say if you make an error and you lose a game and you're at your locker and you're just incredibly downtrodden and a big spot, give up a 3-run bomb, you whiff with the bases juice, you muff a double play like Lindor, whatever it might be, but a big game, right? And reporters are doing their job and you got to be a pro and answer the questions. And somebody, you know, says, you know, hey, I'll be telling you, BT, what happened? What happened on that pop-up? How'd you drop it? You know, I mean, you can look at it like this. You can go, no comment. And now you're defensive, and now you're not being a pro because you dropped the ball, or I dropped the ball. And the onus is on me to communicate what happened in a respectable, professional manner. Okay. The other way could be like, guys, it's just, you know, I'm pretending that I'm sullen right now. It's just, I don't know. You know, I lost at the game tonight. That this one's on me. This one's on me. And then the reporters keep digging. Hey, did this, that. And then you could get either no comment, or you could say, guys, I got no more comment on this. I got to make that play. I got to make that play, and I'm going to make it tomorrow. Like, there's just different ways to say no comment. And there's different times to say them. And I believe, now I'm going to have to take a little bit of a leap of faith here. So I don't know that I'm right. It could be the opposite. I believe that for the first time, Lindor is saying to himself, I think I got to get out of the circus. Because no matter what I do, they're never going to view me the way they view Soto. And rightfully so, because Soto runs circles around you. Even though Soto didn't catch that fly ball the other night in left field. He ain't going to win any gold gloves. He was a finalist a couple years ago. Yeah, my ass. He's gold glove outfielder. Yeah, I know. And he stole 39 bases a couple years. He's the next Ricky Henderson. He can hit. That's all. And he hits. He's amazing. But Soto is the golden boy. And he should be, because he's a lot better than Lindor. The next golden boy is Ewing. And then Bench. And then whomever else might come up the pipeline that looks good, whether it's Scott or the kid who pitched yesterday was very good, who's going to get more of a look as the year goes on. The more the Mets rebuild, and the Mets are miles from winning because of the financial restraints. Nobody wants to go there right now, and they suck. All right? So I'm not saying they can't get competitive kind of quick, but it's not going to raise to the level that I think every Met fan expected it to raise when they won 89 games, beat the Phillies, lost to the Dodgers, and then brought in Soto. And I was thinking this. The conventional thought is, shit, I mean, this elevator is going up. It is going up. Mets are a player. Right back to the basement, right? And whether it's right or wrong, the symbol for that lack of achievement is going to be Lindor. Even if Soto's 0 for 19, and he had a little funk at one point, you know, when he first got here, is he really hustling down the line on a ground ball to second? He's the golden child because he's awesome. Lindor's been here for a long time. He's the captain, but he's not really the captain. He got rid of Lindor. He got rid of everybody but, got rid of Nimmo and Pete, everybody but Lindor. And then the owner says, I'm not going to make anybody a captain as long as I own the team. And then it seems like he pouts a little bit. And then each year his defense gets worse. And then each year he's less and less healthy. And then each year his numbers are less and less impressive. So because he's 33 and plays shortstop, I mean, I'm not saying he's done as a player. I'm not saying that at all. But like his days of being a superstar are over. At least a consistent from like April, even though he never plays well in April anyway, but from April to 1 through 162, he's being passed by the younger generation, you know? And the affection from the fans and that adulation and that hope and that spark is now going toward the young kids, and rightfully so, because youth represents possibility. And that love and adulation and awe is going towards Soto because he's amazing. What's happening with Lindor? Everybody's knocking him around in the court of public opinion. Whether it's he's not the leader people thought he was, or these are all the things that are being said, or his politics draw. And I'm not even trying to get into. I'm just telling you what's been said. Let's not be idiots here. His politics drove out guys who thought counter to the way he does. You know, at least his wife. I'm sure he subscribes to that as well. Her role, her job. I mean, there's a lot around Lindor, which is fine when you're winning, which is fine when you're productive. You're not productive, you're not winning. So to me, this was stage one of him for the first time publicly grabbing that little chute on the parachute and him getting ready to jump off the Mets plane. Now that's different than saying that, because I'm not saying this, that Lindor is demanding a trade. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not saying he's going to be dealt within the next month. That's probably a bigger ticket, bigger item off season. Deal with that. First, you got to resolve the CBA. So I don't even know if that's going to happen this year. But I do believe he's going to be gone soon. Soon meaning maybe within the next year and a half. And I believe that will be best for the Mets. I believe that. Going to have to eat some money. And see what's happened to Lindor is that he's always played with such joy, right? Even during the low points. And there weren't many low points except his April starts and, some defensively last year and now this year. There was a lot more good than bad, to be fair to Francisco Lindor. Hell of a player for the Mets. But I think that ship has sailed. I don't know any Met fans. I don't know any that are all in on Lindor at this point. Now, I'm not saying that you guys are saying trade him, but I'm saying that some of you are, some of you have been. I know Sal's been saying that. Joe B's fine with it. Evans, I think, okay, not to put words in Evans' mouth, but he did say it so I'm not. He said it on my show. Go find it. Had him on 2 weeks ago. And it wasn't like get rid of Lindor, but it was like, it's the first time you've got to be open to maybe thinking about a future without Lindor. You have to be there. Now, there's a few things at play here. Is the fan base there? I believe that I'm just throwing out a number, throwing a dart. I believe that roughly 75 to 80% of the Mets fan base, compared to like 10, 20, 25, going back a year and a half ago, even a year, I think you're at about 75, 80%. They're like, you know what? Not that you hate him, not that 80% hates him, but it might be time. So this is the fan base. Lindor's comments to me are looking to his soul. He's kind of open to it, at least to a higher level, more than he's ever been. But what really matters is, where's the Mets? Where are the Mets? Like their philosophy, their organizational commitment to Lindor. That I can't answer. Unfortunately, my guess is that it's a little bit more than it should be because of Steve Cohen. And that's not a good thing. But, I mean, we're getting to the breaking point here. When you come to New York and you're a really good player and you get off to a shitty start, the thumbs down, that stupid stuff, fighting McNeil, whatever, the raccoon lie, telling him he's going to buy him a car if he wins the batting title and not getting the car for a year. But he got the car, so he didn't mooch, but I thought he was for a second. When it starts poorly, you can recover. I think Carlos Rodon to an extent, has recovered after an awful first year with the Yankees. Now, I don't want Rondon pitching against Toronto or the Rays or in the playoffs. I don't trust him there. But he's an above average starting pitcher. He stabilized it. He's had a couple of good years in a row, right? But it's very different starting poorly and then getting your footing and becoming the source of everybody's adulation, which Lindor did, along with Pete. It's something else when you recover, become that source of love, and now go backwards fast. You don't get two chances in New York. He got his first chance. You guys forgave him based on his play and his spirit and all the other stuff that you guys love about Lindor. Now here we are again. Not playing well. And he has not played well for a while. So that's where I'm at with Lindor. That's where I'm at. I think the wheels are slowly churning, and I believe he's going to be an ex-Met at some point. Absolutely. I want to trade Lindor, but I can't fault him for saying no comment. It's a business, and he's probably not the happiest being shopped around. Well, you don't know that he's being shopped around just because I'm saying that they should be amenable to it. And just because it's not like, I don't think that the question, well, yeah, he is a human, and I can't blame him for that, true. But I don't believe that the Mets are, matter of fact, I don't know this, but I strongly believe, as much as I could believe without actually knowing, the Mets aren't shopping him around. The Mets aren't actively picking up the phone. Hey, Yanks, we know Volpe's a mess. Caballero's a little hit or miss. You want to talk about Lindor? I don't think that that's happening. But I think what needs to happen is when people, if anybody, and I'm sure somebody would, calls the Mets about Lindor. That way, they've got to be more receptive to it. That's what I'm saying. And, you can't fault him for saying no comment. All right, fair enough. Everybody has a bad day. I get it. So I'm not looking to crush him, but I think that that's a sign that he's thawing on his love and affection and commitment. Not that he's not going to play hard, but his commitment to being a Met the rest of his career. I think that he's realizing, all right, might not be who the bleep is paying or trading for an aging overpaid shortstop that can't field. He won't be a free agent until 2032. Well, that's why the Mets going to have to eat up the money. Yeah. That's what I mean by that. So we all know that. Yeah, I think that I don't think it's very good with him at all right now. I don't. All right, so Jade, I know you saw the story, right? Or I believe that you did. Kathy Engelbert, who is the, I think she's the commissioner. She sure as hell doesn't act like one, but she's got the title in front of her name for some reason. Woefully inept for the job, not fit for the job. The WNBA commissioner, you see what she did with Dan Patrick on Thursday?
She didn't do the interview, right?
Yeah, no, she didn't do the interview, but I think it's a little more to it than that. So she didn't do the interview. She originally agreed to the interview. I was going to read this for you, right? WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert canceled an interview on the Dan Patrick Show. The host, and I watched the whole clip with Dan. This was Thursday, she canceled, and then Friday, he talked about this, right? During his show on Friday, both Engelbert, Patrick, they're out there at the American Century Championship Celebrity Golf Tournament in Nevada. That's Lake Tahoe. I love that event. I watched some of it I was watching Steph Curry play. Mike McDonald, Seattle head coach, champion. He was out there. It's a couple of hockey players who just stripe a golf ball. It's fun. Barkley's usually out there. I know I think Derek's starting to go out there, Derek Jeter. So Dan was doing a show out there. Dan's a pretty good golfer as well. Big time, icon, legend. So basically, Patrick said the conversation was scheduled for Thursday, but he claims that, and this has not been refuted by the WNBA yet. It should be if it's wrong, but it won't because I think it's right. He claimed that the WNBA's public relations team instructed Engelbert to cancel. Now, I'm going to read a quote from this is what Dan said on the show, the transcript. We waited almost 2 hours for her. This was scheduled, all right? She was going to a meeting in her hotel room, a conference call, and then she was going to join us. We're standing by, waiting to do the interview with her, blah, blah, blah. He said, I'm going to talk about Caitlin Clark. I'm going to get in some hard stuff here. And then he said, then we got the word that the commissioner said that the WNBA staff, the PR staff, said that she's not allowed to do this, that they would prefer that she did not do this. And then Patrick criticized, rightfully so, Engelbert's handling of the interview. All right. Number one, WNBA doesn't have an ounce of leadership based on what's happened with Caitlin Clark. It's an absolute joke. All right. And we talked about, amazingly, Jay, we did this, and I only did, we didn't do a ton of it. But when it first went down, we did it. And one of the shorts on the show here, it's got like 290,000 views on YouTube, which is our biggest one so far. Amazingly, talking about the Yanks, the Mets, this, that, Knicks championship. It's the Caitlin Clark story. When she got punched in the throat, the lack of action, Sophie Cunningham, who I love, stepping up and basically being her Charles Oakley for Jordan back in the day, the enforcer, black belt in Taekwondo. She was at the MMA this weekend as well with Connor. That was a farce, huh?
Oh, my gosh.
I'll get to that after. Oof, that's rough. So they have no leadership because leadership is not convenient. And this applies to any aspect of life. Being a leader and being emotionally consistent is about really more about being present when things go awry, much more so when things are good. When things are good, anybody could ride the wave of positivity. Oh, we just got this new TV deal. Oh, I just got 3 hits in a game. Oh, I finished first in the ratings. Whatever. When things are good, when you're winning at whatever aspect of life that you're winning at, everybody's kissing your ass. That's the easiest part of life. The hardest part of life is to answer tough questions. And when you are the commissioner of a league that's trying to figure stuff out, and on some level has, mostly because of Caitlin Clark, which is another thing. Like I can't get back into that. But Dan wanted her on the show because he was going to talk about expansion and CBA and contracts. But I promise you, the biggest soundbite, if I got 270 or 280,000 hits on this, still fairly new YouTube channel, Dan Patrick would have gotten millions, and they didn't want that because they're afraid and because they're leaderless. And you know what else? They are absolutely pathetic and without backbone. That was utterly ridiculous. Now, understand this, guys. This wasn't, and this would be bad too. This wasn't the Dan Patrick show reaching out to Engelbert's people or her directly and her saying, you know what? I appreciate it, Dan, but I'm going to take a pass right now. That's not what happened. This is worse because what happened was she agreed to come on. She understood what was going to be asked. Apparently, the PR staff got wind of it, and the PR staff said, nah, you shouldn't do this. You're not going to do this. And she's like, okay. Could you imagine some PR, intern or, you don't have to be an intern, but somebody in the PR telling, Pete Rozelle or the current, and I'm not even a big Roger Goodell fan, Roger Goodell, commish, you're not doing this. Fuck, I'm not doing it. Shut up. What time am I on? That's what he would say, It's ridiculous. And it's emblematic of, and I really don't want to just keep using this word, but really how pathetic. You know what? How leaderless they are. Let me put it in that direction, right? Because they are pathetic on a lot of levels. What they allow, what they don't allow. It's not equitable, right? But that's some of the stuff in the past. I'm talking directly about this. So she agrees. And the worst part, when you actually watch the clip of Dan, who was very classy, and I believe that Dan, because I think he's great. No, I don't watch his show. I mean, I got my own show, I got my own life, and I haven't, to be fair, and to be honest, I haven't really followed Dan Patrick's radio show much because, listen, I'm not 25, but it's a little bit of a different speed. It's just, I'm not looking for it. Sometimes I stumble across stuff on social media. I know Dan's a legend. I think he's great at his job. And I know that he would have conducted A to Z a fair and balanced and well thought out interview. And we would have gotten answers. And really, it's a pretty safe spot. Not that Dan's going to throw her beach balls, but it's not going to be unfair. It's not going to be unfair. She would have answered. She probably would have bullshit something. He would have come back, followed up, challenged her, and then she probably would have looked awful. So I almost give the PR team credit for actually not allowing her strong. That's the way it's being depicted. I have a hard time really believing that they said, Kathy, you're not doing this. Because I think it's more, I hope it's more, hey, Kathy, listen, I don't think it's a good idea. Let's just lay low. Let this just blow over. And that's pathetic. And that's unprofessional. But if they actually told the commissioner, you're not doing this, PR people who I've got great respect for and have worked with forever in the business, forever. PR people have great value. And most of them are incredibly well-intentioned and very good at their job. And really, when you get the good ones, a true liaison to the organization. Now, some PR people, they'll just put their hands up like the Heisman because they're just going to protect. And that's an organization that's scared and just not well run. Like, to me, Jay Horowitz from the Mets, phenomenal. Number one, he's still out there. He's still doing his thing. But, Jay was always front and center. I remember, this is going back years ago, having like Mike Pelfrey on the show, on the TV show, on the radio show, David Wright, obviously, Danny Murphy, when I was doing like the Wheelhouse with SNY and working at 1050, we had obviously SNY, you have all the Mets, but even 1050, Jay was good to us, even though we weren't the home of the Mets. And, sometimes you get a call and I see Jay at St. John's games a lot. So I love Jay. Awesome. God bless him. He's great. But, a couple times he'd be like, a little hard or, hey, but I know you got a job to do. Like, that's the way you're supposed to run this stuff. Because the worst part of PR is when you try to lie to people. But even worse than that is when you run and hide from people. That's pathetic. And as I'm watching Dan's clip over the weekend, like, this you can't make up. Like, this visual is just, it's just, Dan's on the air. Dan's telling the story about how Kathy Engelbert, said she was coming on, committed to coming on, had him waiting for 2 hours because of the meeting. But then the meeting went, longer than basically he was told it was going to go. And then there's no response for the WNBA. And he's like, when is she coming on the show? And when you expect a guest, now you've got to have other content. Otherwise, you're just not very good at your job. And he did. But when you are told concretely, player X, coach Y, whomever, owner Z, GM, whatever, is going to come on the show at 1:00 in the afternoon, and it's 1:37. That's when it's 2:19. You're like, what's going on? If you're there stumbling and bumbling for an hour and a half, I don't know where my guy, fumbling for, I don't know what to do. You suck at your job. Now that's not Dan, but the funniest part about this, Jay, is that as he's telling the story about what happened, and then eventually they get wind, one of his producers, I guess somebody called PR person, she's not coming on at all. So it was a wild chase to nowhere. He's at his set in Lake Tahoe, and she's in the bunker 50 yards away taking practice shots.
What?
Yes. She's working on her sand game. Could you be more obtuse? I mean, at least cover it up and say, Kathy's not feeling great. She's got a migraine. Make something up. She threw up. She's got diarrhea. Well, say whatever you want to say. But and even if you're presented that way, of course, it's a bunch of nonsense. But at least you could tell Dan, and then Dan can communicate this. Hey, it's very disappointing. We were locked in for a time. We thought she was coming, but she's back at the hotel or the house that they rented, however they do it out there, on the grounds, actually, I think. And she's not feeling well. We don't even, she might not even play today. Like, her round's in jeopardy. All right, then maybe it's a little bit believable. But when, she tells one of the icons in the business, I'm coming on, then leaves them hanging for 2 hours. Then some assistant calls up and says she's not coming on. And she's 55 feet away working punkers, flop shots. It's the height of a small league is what it is. And for all the strides, and not just because of Caitlin Clark, now I'm going to get a little separation. There were strides before Caitlin. Like, she's not the only one, whether it's Paige Becker's, others too. I mean, Cheryl Swoops back in the day, come on. Skylar Diggs, throw names at it. They have other names, of course. I don't know too many more than that, but I know they've got a lot. Becky Hammonds, I know. They're not coming to my head right now. But if you have a golden opportunity to sell your league, which is in a very interesting state, like, yeah, they're climbing for sure. The numbers back that up. The digital clicks back that up. The ratings, the contracts. Life's gotten better for the women, as it should. Not that it should be commensurate with the men, because they don't make 1/10 of what the men generate with the NBA, but because they've generated more than they used to, salaries are going up. You know what that's called? The world. That's called life. You want to make $50 million a year? Have an 82-game schedule, sell out every venue, and play at 20,000-seat venues, not just when Caitlin Clark plays, and have a network deal for over $1 billion instead of whatever deals you have now. You know what I mean? So, like, let's not get stupid here and just make it seem like we've got to say, and I'm not trying to be crass or disrespectful or just, rude, but to equate yourself as some of these players have and some of these sycophants who defend it, get a grip, dude. Yeah, we're going to give you as much as Jalen Brunson's going to get. What? I mean, come on, guys and gals. But there was a window for growth. If this was handled better, if this was met head on, if this was attacked with vigor instead of hiding and an open-mindedness and a forward thought, the league could have benefited from the Caitlin Clark stuff. Instead, they ran, they hid, everybody asking questions. What's going on? Where's the commissioner? And that's dangerous. When you let other people speak for you, you allow them to write the narratives. And right now, my narrative for the league is it stinks. That's my narrative. And I'd like to have a different narrative. I'd like to. But I'm not going to get on the air. First of all, I don't watch the WA. I don't have time. And even if I did, full disclosure, it doesn't really interest me. If my daughter was really into basketball, she's more soccer and softball, I would take her to a game. Daddy, absolutely, get you a jersey. She didn't ask Santa for a Liberty jersey. She just doesn't care. I didn't really know. She knows about Caitlin Clark a little bit. That's it. But if she was really into, I'd sit down on the couch and watch games with her. Absolutely. I would support. It would become more part of my world. But I'm not going to fake it just because just to sound like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of people. I said this last week pertaining to something else. I'm getting on a little bit of a getting flowing here, J-Rod. There are a lot of people. I won't name names. I wouldn't do that to them. There are a lot of people who tell you and who say things and they tweet things and they espouse things that they don't believe. Matter of fact, what they believe is the exact opposite. Whether it's about something related to salaries in the WNBA or politics or anything that's divisive, right? And they do it because they're playing to the greater majority, and it's performative. They don't give a shit if the WNBA flourishes, but hey, let me fire. And I hope it does flourish. I'll say that. I hope it does. I want it to do well. They don't care. They'll just do the little tweet. Oh, this will make me look good in the court. Now, some people really are genuinely into. My guy Robin Lundberg, neighbor, is into it, loves it, respects it, knows it. I got to get Robin on the show. To me, like, I'm not talking about him. He is like if you don't follow Robin for all this WNBA stuff, like, he's got it on lock. He's really good. He's a smart dude. He's a good dude. Literally 15 houses down, right? He coached my son in rec basketball this year. They won the championship. And I've known Robin forever, going back to her days at 1050. He's great at that. I'm not talking about somebody like that. But there are a lot of people, who do that because they think, well, this is going to put me in the good graces of people. I don't do that. Like, I'm not trying to win an election. So that will never be me. So I'm going to tell you what I believe. I don't really watch the WNBA at all. There's a really good chance I never will. I don't care who wins the championship. It means nothing to me. But this, once it kind of transcends that, like the mechanics of a game or whatever, and it becomes more of an issue like a commissioner, a league, for a league fighting for respect. And I hope that they ultimately, and they do have a lot of respect in many circles, but I hope that they eventually gain the leverage and the equity that they're pursuing. But the numbers got to match those demands. And when your commissioner is as feeble as the one that they have employed now, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So a colossal whiff, embarrassing, pathetic, sad, but consistent with the way the WNBA operates. That's the way it is. That's the way it is, Jay.
Boom. Boom.
It is,
no,
buddy.
it's wild. It's wild. Like, how are you not going to give your league the opportunity to be seen on any platform? I mean, when you're jousting or vying for more popularity for a league that, I'm not going to say currently they sorely need it, but they certainly do need more popularity and more eyes on the league. And when you have the opportunity to do that and you back out of it for fear of tough questions, like, What are you doing? What are
You're
you
doing
doing?
everything wrong is what you're doing. These idiots didn't put Caitlin Clark on the 30-year anniversary poster.
It's just
What?
Yeah, no, it's just I don't know.
I'm not saying you got to put her in the middle.
Give me the
Cheryl
South
Swoops.
Carolina Gamecocks. Give me the Yukon Huskies. I don't give a shit. Like
Huskies and nasty. OG
don't
was still
keep-
doing his thing. I got you.
Don't give me no Liberty. Don't give me no Aces. Don't give me any.
No,
Fever.
but I mean,
don't.
really, the poster is emblematic of a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying, like, I don't even know who they put in them. But like, to me, you got to have a Lisa Leslie, a Cheryl Swoops.
They had like Sophie Cunningham on that joint. Like it was just random people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, why am I forgetting her name? God, she won. I actually know she won. I think she won back-to-back championships with the Houston Comets. She's older. She's retired. What's her name? Legend. No disrespect. I'm just forgetting her name. Legend from maybe the 90s, whatever the league. I think the league was born in 96, I think. Played with the Houston Comets. What's her name?
Let's see.
If you say it, I'll know it. Just look up.
Cynthia Cooper Dyke.
Yeah. What's
That's
that?
Her name is insane.
What's her name?
Cynthia Cooper Dyke.
Oh, man, come on, man. Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Is that really her name?
That's really her name.
How was that second part?
She's the greatest WNBA
Phenomenal
player of all time.
Phenomenal. How was that? How was the last name spelled? Is it Dike?
It's exactly how you think it is. It's exactly how you think it is.
Yeah, I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about that. I don't know. I don't care. But imagine not having Caitlin Clark on a poster.
It's ridiculous.
But emblematic of everything that's wrong. The way they market, the way they attack controversy. Like, controversy gives you a chance to grow if it's handled properly. What are you still laughing at? Come on, man. Well, to grow and to show that you are moving in a direction that is comparable to and worthy of being taken as seriously as a lot of people take the WNBA, much more so than ever, So I couldn't believe she pulled it. Again, it's not like she just bailed. I'm sick. And even if you're like, wow, she's sick. Come on, was she really sick? If you don't know, you don't know. But when you find out that the PR people told her not to do it and she listened, oh my God. Wow. What is this here? BT, since you're on the topic of women's sports, have you heard of it? Somebody asked me this the other day. Women's baseball league looks like they're starting small and games will be live on YouTube. Any thoughts? I mean, listen, to me, anything, I think it's awesome. And matter of fact, we played 11U. Thank you for that, Charlie. This was in the districts, which we won. In the championship game, we played against, I'm not going to mention the team's name, but we played a team. They were good, buttoned up. We beat them. We played a pretty crisp game. Their catcher was a girl. And I remember when we played 8U, their catcher was a girl too. And I think she was their leadoff hitter. And so I think that's awesome. And I was just watching Young Sheldon. I got into that show with my daughter. I never thought I'd like a show like that. Young Sheldon, that's just not for me. Some young kid who loves science and physics and why click. Hey, I couldn't be less interested, but I loved the show. I love the dad. I love the mom. I love Georgie. I love Georgie. I'm not through with it, so I don't know what happens. I love Georgie's love interest, the blonde hair who's committing herself to religion. I want to see where that goes. Sheldon's my least favorite character, actually. Meemaw is the best. Her geeky physicist, ex-boyfriend, whatever. I'm really into it. And we were watching it yesterday when we got home from my son's game. We were just laying around, and my daughter and I were watching it. And the daughter, who I love, the twin, Sheldon's twin sister, she tried out for a baseball team. And then the coach, very 1980s, like, I don't know, no girls playing on this team, get lost. Then Meemaw came down and said, better get your act together. And then Meemaw and the coach wound up, dating, shall we say. And she wound up playing a little bit of baseball. So yeah, I'm all for, if you could stick, you could stick. Like, it's never going to be a sexist thing. If you got game, let's go. Like, I remember Annika Sorenstam years ago had a couple of exemptions for some men's golf events. Go for it. Absolutely. If you are good enough, I am always about that. What I'm not about is lowering the standard and lowering the criteria to make it easier to reach a level of play, of competition. That fundamentally I will always be against. That's me. You guys might disagree with that. That's fine. That's me. So what else do we have, Jay? We got on the Yankees. We did a little coaching early. We got about Lindor, WNBA. Anything else? I think we pretty much nailed it, man. Did I miss anything?
I'm like trying to I feel like I had a question, but I don't know.
Great contribution.
Yeah, nothing.
I feel like I had a question.
Yeah.
And for those of you who just tuned in and say, J-Rod's a little slow today. He said he was really hungover, had 9 beers, a couple of vodkas, whatever else he had. He got home at 2:30. So
yes,
we
sir.
get
Was this
J-Rod
spot around back in the day?
Pass.
Welcome to the Johnsons. It's probably a newer spot, Lower East Side. I don't.
Wait, a bar? No,
Yeah,
I didn't hang out in the Lower East Side at all.
Oh, okay.
No, that wasn't my scene. Like, even restaurants I didn't go down. I lived Upper West, hung Upper West, around Lincoln Center. I go to what's the name? Nobu, really good sushi joint.
Come on.
Yeah, some good restaurants.
I don't think have I been? Maybe my mom and I went one time.
Yeah, you better go with your mom because I don't know if you can afford it. Don't go on a date. Although I told you I'm paying for your date.
Yeah, you're paying for Nobu?
I told you, dude. Third date.
Nobu?
You pay for anything. I told you.
All right, listen.
You gotta get a date.
I know. I'm trying.
Yeah, if you're new to the show,
I'm not trying that hard.
I know.
I need to try harder.
Time out, dude. Nobody came up to you after the show, after you were
Last
jamming
night?
on stage.
It was 10.
Man.
Listen, hopefully Gabe was not watching this because I love you, buddy, and it was one of the most fun shows I've played in a very long time.
Okay.
It was 10 p.m. on a Sunday, dude. Who's gonna be at the concert?
I don't know. Groupies?
The sound technician.
Yeah. I don't know. When I was young and single, I would meander out, Sunday night, maybe. Yeah, sure.
No,
man.
last night. Now the concert scene is so different because there aren't really concerts that you can walk into. It's all kind of things where you buy a ticket beforehand. So no, dude, I think the only only girl in the audience was my boy's girlfriend, was the lead singer's girlfriend.
Is she hot? I mean, is she worth making a move on or no?
The lead singer's girlfriend. Are you kidding
I'm
me?
teasing. I'm totally teasing.
This
That's a rule. It's a rule I never broke.
You and me.
That's a rule I never broke. I never broke that rule. No way.
All right.
One of my friends' girl, never. No way. That's the man code 101, dude.
Active? Yeah, of course that's the man code.
Oh, some guys do.
Yeah, but a dude who does that's like one, that guy, he's cool with cheating.
He's a piece of shit, the guy that does that.
But yeah,
period.
You did that with your friend I thought you were just talking about ex-girlfriend even. Oh my God.
No, I didn't even mess around with that. No.
Actively dating. That is like
I know people who have done that. I know guys who have moved, not my best friend Core. I know guys who have moved in, more acquaintances or people from like either work. I don't even mean radio, but whatever. In my, from high school up until my 30s when I met my wife. Yeah, I knew of a couple of situations where a dude went after and another guy was going out made a move. Now, maybe the girl rejected him, but he still made a move. I even took it a step further. If you're an ex, no, that's my boy, especially if you broke up with him. Man. Now, if he broke up with you, but then again, you don't want, I don't know.
It gets complicated. Listen, Trust me, I delved into murky waters and it was rough.
It seems like you haven't delved in a while. So it doesn't matter how murky that shit is. You got to start delving.
Get the goggles out, bro.
Yep. What else? Before we wrap it up,
let's see. He did.
Oh, hold on. I got an announcement this week. So, J-Rod knows who it is. Can't say it yet. It's gonna be good. I would have to think that this one's gonna get some attention. I'll leave it at that. But they are on vacation now. And he wants me to wait before I announce it because we have to jointly settle on the day. And he's off all this week. He'll be back next week. Got to pick the right spot and be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that one.
I remembered my question.
What?
How was the Jets meetup Saturday?
I didn't go.
You didn't go?
I couldn't go. No, I had to bail. Look, first of all, it went off really well.
It looked fun. It looked like a good time.
I saw all the pictures. Jake was there. Samini was there. I was going.
Okay.
But because of the sectional all-star tournament that you don't know the dates, really, you don't know them, you just don't know him right away. And we agreed upon this a couple of months ago. Now, if it was just like our show, the Jets Collective, like if
you would have.
I mean, that would have been really tough, man. You know how much I love coaching, especially these signature events that the boys look forward to. But it wasn't. There was like all sorts of content creators. There was like I think 100 content creators. I mean, I saw a lot of bikini shots. I mean, I think the Jet cheerleaders were there. I mean, not that it would have mattered to me, but if I was there, but it seemed like it was a good time. Yeah. I did not make it, unfortunately, but Jake said it was great.
Cool. Oh, yeah. I'm glad to hear it went over well.
Yeah, it did. I mean, how could it not? You're at a pool. You got free booze. You got a great spot in AC.
And you're with Wayne Corbett.
Wayne Corbett was there. My boy, number 80, Wayne. Loved him. All right, Jay. I think we're going to bounce. Tomorrow.
Yeah, what's the plan?
Well, the plan is to do what I sent you. Which don't necessarily divulge, but go ahead.
Do you want me to divulge or no?
No, I don't want you.
Okay, then I won't divulge. I won't divulge anything. Are we tomorrow? We're going live still, though? Correct.
Yeah, you and I can talk about that offline. It'll be a much shorter show.
Sure.
Unless something big breaks. If there's more Lindor or something like Judge injury, whatever it might be. LeBron.
They're talking. They're saying this week. I don't know. I'm so sick of it though. This whole saga has kind of soured my perspective on him a little bit.
Oh, finally, welcome to the party.
Because it's just like, okay, one last attention grab for the biggest attention grabber, maybe in human history. Like, okay, maybe
Kardashian.
Oh, yeah, never mind. Kim. Yes. Yeah.
Got 100%. It. I beat you on it. I got a good one there. Pulled the good one.
Yeah. I mean, you picked literally the only one who could beat her is maybe if the fictionalized character from The Emperor's New Clothes was a real person. But
that's going over my head. But I'll assume
it's a good story.
I'll assume that it's witty and on point, but over my head on that one. Go ahead.
But no. Wait, what player was I even just talking? Oh, LeBron. Completely the Kardashian threw me off.
I get
completely soured me. He's brought out this whole saga for way too long. Dude, just pick the team, let the people get their freaking Cleveland 23 jerseys on and just drop the documentary because it's just gone on to the point where it's just added drama for the documentary at this point. It's ridiculous.
Geez. You said that for a while. I think you're right.
It's ridiculous.
Did you start real quick? Did you start your homework assignment? It sounds like you had a busy weekend. Did you start?
Had a busy weekend, but this week I'm going to have a more low key week. I'm going to Boston visiting my grandparents or my grandma this weekend. So
the grandma who's a big fan of Unleashed?
Big fan of Unleashed. She's listening right now. I know it. So
what's going on, Grandma? Maybe we can pop her on camera for a little bit.
Oh my gosh, that would be fun one time.
You want to do that?
Potentially. If I'm in Boston on Friday, we can maybe do that.
I might not be. I think I'm playing golf.
Oh,
Friday.
Okay.
I don't know if we're doing a show Friday.
We'll
see. Take a little time this week. Quiet week,
Doing that, going to Red Sox Rays Sunday.
Whoa.
Maybe the only time Yankee fans are rooting for the Red Sox. Although Red Sox are half game back from the wild card.
Yeah, so. I'd rather see the Red Sox, win that. The Red Sox playing well. I'd rather, but I'm not sitting rooting, but I mean, ask me what outcome I would rather happen. Red Sox win a couple. Yeah. Oh, so listen, real fast. I know you had a busy weekend. You'll jump on it this week here, but do you still have the image? Because if people are like, what homework assignment? You should still have that somewhere in there, right?
Yeah, let me throw it.
So it came up last week. Keep that up. It came up last week on the show that J-Rod has never, I don't mean like he hasn't seen too many. He has never seen a baseball movie in his life. So I said, all right, we got to get to work here. So I constructed a list here. Nice different mix, some lighthearted stuff, some stuff that'll make you think and cry, some historical stuff like 42 and League of Their Own. These are the 10. All right. He's got to pick 5 of them. And the first assignment was he's got to report by Monday. Yeah, I know it was Moneyball, and he's got to report by Friday, but it's going to be on Thursday because I don't think we're doing a show on Friday. All right. He's got to crank out. I selected Moneyball, and then I will allow him to select the next 4. He's got to hammer all 5 of these before the start of football season. We got to get him up to speed if he's going to be as big a part of the show as I know he is and will remain being. So that is J-Rod's summer work assignment there. Okay. There you go, Jay. All right, buddy. I'm going to get out of here, man. Let me roll. Hopefully everybody has a great Monday. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Like it. Probably should have said this earlier. Like it, subscribe it, share it, get it out there, continue to grow. Looking forward to announcing that guest for next week. Talk to a lot of football people, London Fletcher, Phil Simms, couple of Kevin Burkhardt, others that will be coming on the show as we get a little closer to the start of training camp. And then obviously, in the day-to-day rigors of camp, we'll be doing football content. Plus, we have a new sponsor coming at that point for a football-specific segment. So we got a lot of good things coming, but I appreciate you guys supporting us, watching us. Hopefully you had a good weekend. Hopefully you enjoyed today's show. Good start to the weekend. Comment. I'm sure the WNBA stuff is going to get some stuff. Yankee stuff as well. The Lindor segment was hot. I know you guys are jumping in on that. So I will catch you tomorrow. We will go live at 10, probably a condensed show unless something crazy happens. Until then, I will see you tomorrow at 10 on Unleashed. See ya.
This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me?
With your host, Brandon Tierney.